The Funan Kingdom was an ancient Indianized state that existed from the 1st to 6th century, seeing what is now southern Vietnam and Cambodia. It was a powerful maritime trading hub, flourishing due to a strategic location in the Mekong Delta and its connections to trade routes linking China, India, and the Mediterranean. Funan was known for adopting Hinduism and Buddhism, and its wealth, advanced irrigation, and organized society laid the foundation for later Southeast Asian civilizations like Angkor. The kingdom was centered around the Mekong Delta, spanning parts of present-day Cambodia, Vietnam, and Thailand. Economy and trade. Funan was a major center for international trade, with its port city of Oudong serving as a hub for goods. Archaeological evidence, including Roman coins and Indian jewelry, confirms its extensive trade network. Religion and culture. Funan was heavily influenced by Indian culture and religion, with Hinduism and Buddhism being prominent faiths. It adopted Sanskrit as its written language. Society and technology. Society was highly organized, supported by an advanced irrigation system that facilitated wet rice cultivation. By the mid-6th century, Funan was conquered and absorbed by the Chenla Kingdom, another Khmer power. Funan's influence is considered a key precursor to later powerful states in the region, most notably the Khmer Empire.
Chenla was a Khmer kingdom that succeeded the Funan Kingdom in what is now Cambodia, existing from the late 6th to the early 9th century, and is considered the predecessor to the Angkorian Khmer Empire. It initially rose as a vassal state of Funan before conquering and absorbing it entirely. The kingdom later split into two entities, Upper Chenla and Lower Chenla, before eventually being unified under King Jayavarman II, who founded the Khmer Empire in 802 AD. Rise and conquest of Funan. Chenla emerged around 540 AD as a subordinate state to the Funan Kingdom. By the 7th century, Chenla had conquered and assimilated Funan, absorbing its territory, population, and culture. The decline of Funan is partly attributed to the collapse of Roman trade routes, which impacted trade between the Mediterranean and China. Key rulers like Bhavavarman I and Mahendravarman expanded Chenla's power, with Mahendravarman believed to have conquered Funan. King Azenovarman I established a new capital at Sambura during the kingdom's peak internal conflict and division. After the death of King Jayavarman I in 681 AD, the kingdom experienced internal unrest. By the 8th century, the kingdom split into two main parts. Upper Chenla included the northern territories and highlands. Lower Chenla contained the eastern territories of the Tonle Sap Lake and coastal areas. Decline and the rise of the Khmer Empire. Lower Chenla faced constant turbulence and attacks, including raids from Java by the end of the 8th century. This period of strife led to the rise of several independent Khmer principalities in 802 AD. Jayavarman II emerged from exile in Java, unified these smaller states, and overthrew Javanese influence. Jayavarman II's unification marks the beginning of the Angkorian Khmer Empire.
The Khmer Empire was a powerful state in Southeast Asia that ruled vast areas from approximately 802 to 1431 C, centered at its capital Angkor. In modern-day Cambodia, the empire is renowned for its immense wealth, sophisticated society, and monumental architecture, most notably the temples of Angkor Wat and the Bayon.
Rise and zenith, the empire grew out of the earliest civilization of Chenla. Its beginning is conventionally dated to 82 CE, when Prince Jayavarman II declared independence from what inscriptions called Java and proclaimed himself Chakravartin, universal ruler in Davaja. In the Nam Kulen Mountains, subsequent kings expanded the empire's territory to include much of present-day Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and southern Vietnam. This era was marked by monumental architecture, constructed vast temple complexes such as Angkor Wat, built under Suryavarman, dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. In Angkor Wat, these structures were built of stone, while non-religious buildings were made of perishable material. Hydraulic engineering, the empire developed an intricate water management system of canals and large reservoirs for irrigation and transport, which support a massive population, possibly up to 1 million people in the greater Angkor area, making it the largest pre-industrial urban center in the world. Culture flourished in the bas reliefs on temple walls and the details detailed account of the Chinese diplomats Oudong, provide insights into the rich culture, society, and everyday life of the Khmer people during the 13th century. Decline and fall. The Khmer Empire experienced a gradual decline after the death of Jayavarman this year around. We try to see the reasons are complex and debated among scholars, likely stemming from a combination of factors. External pressures, the rise of new Thai kingdoms such as the entire kingdom led to frequent wars and the loss of territory, environmental breakdown,
severe climate changes,
including a series of intense droughts followed by strong monsoons in the 14th and 15th centuries, likely damaged the crucial water management infrastructure through silting and made agriculture less reliable. Religious shift, the widespread conversion from the state-sponsored Hindu and Mahayana Buddhist cults to Theravada Buddhism may have eroded the concept of the God King that justified the king's absolute authority, and massive building projects leading to a loss of royal authority and the decline in the available workforce. The fall of Angkor is conventionally dated to 431, when the city was sacked by the entire kingdom, forcing the Khmer king Phoneyat to abandon Angkor and move the capital south to Phnom Penh area. The legacy of the empire continues to shape the culture and national identity of modern Cambodia today.
The fall of the Khmer Empire was a gradual process spanning the 14th and 15th centuries, culminating in the abandonment of the capital city of Angkor around 1431 AD. After it was repeatedly attacked and sacked by the rival Siamese Kingdom of Ayutthaya, the decline was caused by a complex interplay of internal and external factors. Key factors contributing to the decline: external pressures and military conflicts. The Khmer Empire faced increasing military threats from neighboring powers, particularly the rising Thai kingdoms of Sukhothai and Ayutthaya. These kingdoms launched frequent raids and invasions, disrupting trade routes and weakening the empire's control over its provinces. The repeated sacking of Angkor, most notably in raiding Cairo 3 and 431, played a significant role in the capital's eventual abandonment. Environmental and ecological problems: the empire's sophisticated water management system of canals and large reservoirs, essential for intensive rice agriculture, to feed its massive population, was severely impacted by climate change. Prolonged droughts followed by intense monsoon flooding during the 14th and 15th centuries led to system failure, including erosion and siltation of the reservoirs. This decreased food production and caused economic stress. There was a major religious shift from the state religions of Hinduism and Mahayana Buddhism toward Theravada Buddhism. This new belief system emphasized personal reflection and social equality, which challenged the traditional Hindu concept of the God King that had underpinned the king's divine authority and the social hierarchy. This eroded the royal personality cult, making it harder for the monarchy to command the vast workforce needed to build and maintain monumental temples and the complex hydraulic infrastructure. Economic changes. The rise of maritime trade routes attracted the Khmer elite and general population away from the inland, agrarian-focused capital of Angkor toward new, more commercially oriented settlements closer to the Mekong Delta and the Tonle Sap River. Internal instability. The empire experienced frequent internal power struggles, succession conflicts, and rebellions among the elite, which diminished its ability to withstand external threats and manage its vast territory effectively. Ultimately, these factors combined to create a slow and gradual decline, rather than a sudden, catastrophic collapse.
The Longvek Era was a significant period in Cambodian history, generally considered to be from 1509 to 1594. It is part of the country's Middle Ages, which followed the decline of the Great Khmer Empire and the sacking of Angkor, the city of Longvek, meaning intersection or crossroads, served as the Cambodian capital during this time. Key aspects of the Longvek Era: new capital. After the Siamese Ayah King and the former capital Angkor, King Angchen, I moved the capital to the more defensible location of Longvek, north of present-day Phnom Penh, in 1529. political and commercial center. Throughout the 16th century, Longvek was Cambodia's primary political, religious, and commercial hub. The era saw a period of prosperity and growth in international trade, with products such as silk, cotton, incense, ivory, and precious stones being traded. This period marked the first visits of European adventurers and missionaries, such as the Spanish and Portuguese, to the kingdom. They often referred to the country simply as Cambodia,
Derived from the city's name.
military significance. The city served as a center for the country's military and a gathering point for scholars and martial artists. The city was heavily fortified, making it difficult for enemies to enter. Siamese invasions and fall. Despite some periods of peace, the era was marked by frequent conflicts with the neighboring Siamese Kingdom of Ayutthaya in 1593 and in 1594. The Siamese king Naresuan successfully besieged and conquered Longvek. This event is considered a catastrophic blow to Khmer sovereignty and marks the beginning of Cambodia's dark age, during which the nation faced significant instability and lost much of its national treasure and skilled population to Siam. Relocation of capital. Following the fall of Longvek, the capital was eventually moved to Oudong in the 17th century.
The Oudong Era refers to the period when Oudong served as Cambodia's royal capital from 1682 to 1863, a key time in the post-Angkorian period.
The city was later moved to Phnom Penh in 1866 under the suggestion of French colonial masters. The era is characterized by both periods of prosperity and conflict. The site is known for its many royal stupas and necropolises located on a mountain.
Key facts about the Oudong Era.
Timeline. The era lasted from 1690 to 1863. Capital shift. In 1866, the capital was moved to Phnom Penh.
Oudong is situated in present-day Kando province, about 40 km northwest of Phnom Penh.
Historical significance.
Oudong was the center of Khmer power for nearly 250 years. Architectural legacy. The city is known for its royal stupas and necropolises, many of which are located on a prominent mountain. Notable structures. Structures include the Damre Sampoan Stupa and the Angdam Stupa, which houses King Engduong's ashes.
Modern status.
Oudong is now a traditional center for religion and culture and a popular day trip destination from Phnom Penh.
The French Protectorate of Cambodia lasted from August 11, 1863, until Cambodia gained full independence on November 9, 1953. During this period, Cambodia was a constituent territory of French Indochina, and while the monarchy remained in place, actual power was largely held by a French resident general. In the mid-19th century, Cambodia was a vulnerable vassal state caught between the expanding powers of Siam and the Vietnamese Nguyen dynasty. To prevent the complete absorption of his country by its neighbors, King Norodom reluctantly requested a French protectorate, signing a treaty on August 11, 1863 under duress.
A French gunboat was notably anchored nearby during negotiations.
Siam eventually recognized the protectorate in 1867 in exchange for French recognition of its control over the Cambodian provinces of Battambang and Siem Reap.
These were later returned to Cambodia.
French administration and impact administration. Cambodia was integrated into the French Indochina Union in 1887, which also included the French colonies and protectorates in Vietnam and Laos. A French resident superior appointed from Paris held most administrative power, effectively reducing the Cambodian king to a figurehead. Economy, the French developed infrastructure, including roads and a railway connecting Phnom Penh to Battambang, and established rubber plantations, as well as corn and cotton crops. However, the economy was primarily designed to process raw materials for export, and Cambodians faced high taxes and were largely excluded from important economic positions, which were often filled by Vietnamese immigrants or French individuals. Culture and society.
The French presence led to a revival of Khmer culture and history, most notably through the archaeological restoration of the Angkor Wat Temple complex, which fostered a sense of national pride among the educated Cambodian elite. French became an official language, and Western ideas of democracy and self-rule were introduced, though literacy rates remained low for much of the period.
Road to independence, early nationalism. While nationalism was slower to develop in Cambodia than in Vietnam, resentment over French taxes and administration led to protests, such as a major peasant protest in 1916. The French educated elite, including figures like Sun Ngoc Than and Pach Choan, began to publish anti-colonial newspapers in the 1930s. World War II, the Japanese occupation of Cambodia from 1941 to 1945 significantly weakened French authority. The Japanese dissolved the French administration in March 1945 and encouraged King Norodom Sihanouk to declare an independent Kampuchea, which he did. Post-war and Royal Crusade. After the war, France attempted to re-establish its control, but faced growing nationalist movements, including the armed Khmer Empire in 1947. Cambodia was granted a constitution and self-rule within the French Union, and its protectorate status was officially removed in 1949. King Sihanouk, keen to secure genuine independence and counter the growing influence of the anti-French guerrillas, launched a royal crusade for independence in 1953, using diplomatic pressure and international media to force France's hand.
Full independence reaped difficulties in the First Indochina War. France finally yielded, transferring control over national defense, police and other matters to the Cambodian government. King Sihanouk returned in the Phnom Penh in triumph, and full independence was celebrated on November 9, 1953.
This was formally recognized internationally by the Geneva Accords in July 1954.
From 1953 to 1970, the Kingdom of Cambodia, or Sankum period, was led by Prince Norodom Sihanouk after gaining independence from France. Sihanouk established a policy of neutrality but allowed North Vietnamese communists to use Cambodia as a sanctuary, a move that contributed to increased instability. The period ended with a US-backed military coup in 1970 led by Lon Nol, which overthrew Sihanouk and plunged Cambodia into a civil war, and eventually the rise of the Khmer Rouge. Independence in Sihanouk's leadership.
Cambodia officially gained independence from France on November 9, 1953, following negotiations led by King Norodom Sihanouk. Abdication, Sihanouk abdicated his throne to his father to enter politics. He became prime minister after his father's death in 1960 with the title of Prince and Head of State.
Sihanouk pursued a policy of neutrality during the Cold War and the escalating Vietnam War, growing instability and external involvement. Centuries for North Vietnamese forces. Sihanouk allowed the North Vietnamese army to use Cambodian territory as a sanctuary and supply route for their forces fighting in South Vietnam.
The United States, concerned about the spread of communism, became involved in supporting the Cambodian government. This included error bombing campaigns that were often kept secret from the public, escalating conflict, the policy of allowing communist access, and the continued U.S. involvement destabilized the country, creating a refugee crisis and exacerbating internal tensions. The 1990 coup and its aftermath. In March 1970, Prime Minister Lon Nol led a military coup that overthrew Sihanouk and ended the monarchy.
In 1970, coup and its aftermath.
In March 1970,
Prime Minister Lon Nol led a military coup that overthrew Sihanouk and ended the monarchy. Lon Nol declared the establishment of the Khmer Republic, ushering in a period of civil war between the government and the Khmer Rouge, who allied with Sihanouk. The coup triggered a full-scale civil war, with the United States continuing to provide support to the new government. The civil war eventually led to the victory of the Khmer Rouge in 1975, ending the Kingdom of Cambodia period and leading to the establishment of democratic Kampuchea.